It's a great pleasure to welcome today Nir Cohen to the Centre for Visual Cultures. Nir is head programmer of the UK Jewish Film Festival, held annually in London. And I'd like to begin by asking Nir just to talk about the nature of his job and what it entails.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, James, for having me today. So I'll start with maybe saying a few words about UK Jewish Film. We are the largest exhibitor of Jewish-themed films in Europe. And as you mentioned, our flagship event is our annual UK Film Festival, which happens every November. But apart from that, we also curate other smaller film festivals, mostly in Europe, and an extensive year-round program in London and other major cities in the UK. So I think that overall we probably have more than 500 screenings in total, including the festival and the year-round program every year. And I am responsible for curating all these programs, finding the films, negotiating deals with distributors, writing synopses and other marketing materials. That's about it, really. And right now, also, since lockdown began, also focusing mostly on increasing our VOD platform, adding more films to the service and making that really, for the time being, at least, the focus of our activity.
Well, okay. I didn't know you did all that. So it's very much, dealing with films as films, but dealing with distributors, dealing with filmmakers, dealing with everyone, in fact, as a programmer.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess we're a very small organization. So I think we are, how many are we? I guess 4 full-timers and a few more freelancers or people who work part-time. Which is, adds to the maybe stress on one level, but then it also allows you to experiment a lot and to kind of, or rather to, get experience in things that you wouldn't have otherwise if you worked for a bigger organization. So I definitely get to do quite a lot of things from, again, curating films, reviewing films, to negotiating prices and deals with distributors.
Well, this is the point where we can talk about if and how the COVID pandemic has changed in practical terms. As a result of the pandemic, your job, your basic day-to-day job, which covers all these different aspects.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned before, we normally have an extended program of screenings throughout the year. Since lockdown began, in lieu of cinema screenings, we focused our attention on online screenings. Again, my main focus, at least, was to increase the variety of films that we have on offer at the moment. And that meant getting back to all the distributors that we normally work with and asking for material. And fortunately, I can say that distributors who were previously unwilling to provide films for online viewings have changed their tune, which has allowed us to grow our on-demand platform quite significantly. We've been described recently by one of the Jewish publications as the Jewish Netflix, and I don't know if I'd go as far as that, but we definitely try to create a platform that offers a significant number of titles, documentaries, drama, and short films, and TV shows as well, which is something that we're experimenting with now at the moment.
Can I just ask you about the online platform then? Certain platforms like Mubi, for example, have had special deals to bring in people. I think for a month, I think that was what they were running, that special offer. Do you do that too? Do you have special sort of ways of welcoming people in and then seeing if they like it? And then is that also a commercial approach or not? Obviously you're part of a community, Sigma community, but is that part also of your remit to make money? As an institution?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are a charity, but making money or at least breaking even is a very important thing for us. Otherwise, we just we won't be able to survive. I don't think that we can compete with Netflix or Amazon Prime in terms of prices, or at least not always. But we definitely try to price our films competitively. We have a wonderful marketing person whose job or part of his job is to come up with this exciting exciting promotions and exciting deals for our viewers. I think you mentioned movie, and I think it's quite interesting because we don't work in the same way as movie does, but we definitely cater to, I guess, a more selective group of people. So I think movie is definitely a go-to destination for people who look for art house films or festival films or classic films. And I would like our platform to become a go-to destination for people who look for exclusively for Jewish content. Of course, you can find Jewish content across the platforms, and content providers such as Amazon Prime also produce their own Jewish-themed series. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, for example, is one example. Transparent is another. But I would like people, if possible, to think of us first when they feel the need or they want to watch a film with strong Jewish themes or characters.
Great, I understand. Okay, well, I suppose the next question and the follow-up question, have these changes determined by the pandemic created new possibilities for engaging with the public? I mean, I suppose in a sense, you've already said that it is because you're opening up the online platform. Are there other aspects to that opening up?
Yes, of course. First of all, I think we are able to reach wider audiences across the UK. So not just those in the vicinity of the cinemas that we normally screen films at. So that's great. I mean, at the festival, we screen mostly in London, but also in the regions. But having a VOD platform obviously allows us to reach people in the UK wherever they are. We are also, to a lesser extent, maybe, are able now to reach audiences online around the world with films that we are allowed to have on our platform for other territories, for territories other than the UK. This is a small number of films at the moment, but we are trying to build a larger selection of films that can also be accessible outside of the UK. I think also our VOD platform allows us to maybe experiment a little bit more with the kind of films that we bring. And by doing that, hopefully also attracting non-traditional audiences, which for us would mean non-Jewish audiences, younger audiences, so people under the age of 50, students, and cinephiles as well, people who would like to watch a film because of its quality rather than just because it has strong representation of Jewish life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, can I just then talk about the festival itself, which is taking place in November as usual?
Yeah. Well, that's that's quite unclear at the moment. So we're definitely going to have a festival in November. We're not 100% sure whether it's going to be a mixture of theatrical screenings and online screenings or just online screenings. I find it really hard to believe that we'll be able to run the festival as normal as in previous years due to the situation. Of course, nobody knows whether there's going to be a second wave in September or not. There's lots of unanswered uncertainties at the moment. We don't know if cinemas are going to reopen and when. We don't know about their capacity. There are lots of other factors that are not completely in our control, such as distributors' plans for new big releases, so which might affect the number of slots that we can get at the cinemas that we normally screen at. So things are a bit in flux at the moment, but I think that we'll probably have to make a final decision by the end of July, when we normally aim to finalize the program by the end of August. And I think that, around July, early August, we'll need to know where we stand in terms of our plans.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, this then perhaps leads to the final sort of big question that I wanted to ask. We're asking all our contributors to this sort of CVC COVID spot. And that is, what you're experiencing now and how you're thinking about the festival. Do you think that's going to change potentially how you look at your practice as a programmer, in general? I mean, and in a good, progressive way?
I believe so. I think that, both, I think that, programmers as well as distributors and the audience are going to look at the whole kind of online experience of watching films and experiencing festivals a bit differently after, hopefully we'll see the end of this crisis very soon. But I think that the way that we view the possibilities of online screenings are going to change. I think we'll definitely, at some point return to normal theatrical screenings, but I think that future festivals will probably, or editions of our festival at least, will probably have a component of online screenings as well as theatrical screenings. I think we also, especially at UK Jewish Film, since the majority of our viewers, members are of a certain age, they tend to be slightly older. I think that this whole experience kind of, teaches them how to use the internet for watching films, for example, what it means to watch a film on Vimeo, and those kind of habits hopefully will, stay with them even after this crisis is over. So I definitely think, hopefully one thing will not, come at the expense of the other. And I think that there's, of course, something very special about watching films with many others at the cinema. But there are other alternatives, there are other options, there are other ways of watching as well. And I think that people are learning to appreciate them a little bit more now. And I think that's going to stay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the things that we talk about in teaching is that, we will miss the live element to teaching, where one can say things provided there's, a kind of sense of security in the classroom, which may be less possible to say online, where everything is much more sort of policed, if you like. And I wonder if that would also influence how you look at Q&As online. It's going to be different from a live Q&A, on stage.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's just something different. I don't know if it's better or worse. And I think, again, that there is something about, being in the same room with many other people that adds to the experience in a way that, an online Q&A or an online screening cannot replicate. But a live Q&A online at the same time can also, draw people from all corners of the world, which is a very unique and powerful experience in itself as well. You can't do that at your local cinema in London. It's just impossible. So I think there are advantages and disadvantages, and I think that I very much hope that we will be able to return to resume our normal theatrical program very soon. I think that I'd be quite, sorry to just let this all kind of online experience go. I personally would like to keep a little bit of that. I like the idea of, getting people from all over the world watching and experiencing films together, even if together means from their own kind of private living rooms. But I think more than anything, it's probably too early to say exactly what the landscape of, especially of this particular kind of industry is going to be like after the crisis is over.
Do you think that ultimately our conception of film will change? I mean, already it's been changed, through digital, and online platforms and how they use film. But the whole nature of film as a film going experience, as a social phenomenon, do you think that will actually change forever?
I think that probably this kind of trend, if you like to call it that, probably started quite a long time ago when when obviously streaming started, but even before that with the ability to watch films at home. I think big blockbusters and films as cultural events, that kind of thing will probably stay. So a new James Bond will remain a very big cultural event, something that people would choose to go to the cinema and experience together. With other films, I already feel that and maybe that's because I work in the field of programming. When I go to a festival like Berlin, for example, and when I attend the market, which is part of the festival, I'm always amazed by the number of films that are made every year. So you have hundreds, if not thousands of films on offer for you to choose from. So there are so many films being made. Obviously, not all of them, not even the majority of them. Probably a very small minority of them can actually, be shown theatrically. So I think a lot of the films that we watch nowadays anyway can only be found online.
Sure.
So it could be that the situation with coronavirus and lockdown, will make this even more felt or more kind of pronounced. But I think this trend of being able to watch certain films at home and at home only is going to stay.
Okay, thank you so much, Nir, for joining us at the CBC today, and we wish you all the best for the festival, whatever form it takes in the coming months. Thank you very much.
Thank you.